wasn't advanced by before.
This is like Kennedy's practice, always searching in his pockets and borrowing money from me. That's embarrassing.
I think that's the one. There it is.
So toward the, I think it's probably the chapter on American foreign policy. And I talk about his American University commencement address, which was the most important speech he ever gave, and certainly the most important on American foreign policy, because he called for a re-examination of the Cold War. And he called for a re-examination of our relations with Russia. He was the first American ever to recognize the Russian sacrifice in World War II. And believe me, Khrushchev and the Russians really appreciated that, because Americans had talked about everybody else's sacrifice, but never theirs. But anyway, that's what he talks about in the American University speech. And then I go on to say something like this. That spring and summer formed a remarkably intensive but productive period in Kennedy's curtailed presidency. On the day before the American University speech, June 9, he spoke to the nation's mayors in Honolulu, calling for their help on the civil rights crisis. On June 10, the same day that he spoke at American University, he also signed the Equal Pay Act, prohibiting wage discrimination against women. The next day, June 11, he directed from the Oval Office the admission of the University of Alabama's first 2 black students, despite Governor George C. Wallace's theatrically stand in the doorway, and went on nationwide television to give the strongest presidential declaration since Abraham Lincoln that race discrimination in this country was to end permanently. The next day, June 12th, he established the first National Advisory Council on the Arts. 1 week later, he sent Congress the most comprehensive civil rights legislation of all time, and announced the joint U.S.-Soviet establishment of a direct communications link between our respective capitals, the so-called hotline. By June 23rd, he was in Germany on his trip to solidify the Western Alliance. To paraphrase Wordsworth, bliss wasn't in that dawn to be alive, but to be young and in the service of that present was very heaven. And then he came to Grand Forks.
I want to thank all of you for coming to this great conversation.